All right. What's going on, everybody? It's Ryan Kidd, and I am the human B-side. And another year of rocking is through, and that means a new vinyl tag is due. So I brought a bunch of records out for this. We got 20 questions, so let's just jump right into it, man. Question number one: the best purchase of 2024, new or old? I got some new, some old, so I'll show you. Probably my favorite record of the year has got to be this one. Split System Volume 2. This thing is just riddled with like punishing hooks and riffs. Great punk rock. I love the record, but my love for the band was like solidified by their performance at Goner Fest. They just blew the roof off the fucking place. Awesome band. Split System Volume 2. Here's a twitchy, jangly, really quirky record by a band called Soup Activist. They also played at Goner Fest. If you like television personalities, I think you'll really dig this record. These guys are really doing their own thing, and I respect that. Much respect. Great record. The Worst of Itchy and the Knits. Think like Nicky and the Corvettes meets the simpleness and playfulness of like riffs from Vom live at Surf City. You got Itchy and the Knits, all-female Australian band. Terrific. Really funny songs on this thing, like Beat It Bozo, He's a Dreamboat. The theme song is hilarious. Love this record. Some party time rock and roll, baby. Cash for Scrap by the Cavemen. Raunch rock and roll. If you like kind of Stiv Bader's Dead Boy style vocals, I think you're going to love this. Maximum rock and roll, man. I think this is actually a little more of a mature effort than some of their other albums, which I like those other albums too, but props to them on putting out a great record. Another Aussie band, Drunk Mums, Beer Baby, and you better take this one with beer, baby. This is another party time rocker, Drunk Mums. New Australia like blew up, great tune. The whole record's good. Here's another band that played at Goner Fest. The band is called Class, and the album is A Healthy Alternative. Now, I've got to give Class their flowers for writing great songs. I also have to give them their flowers for covering the Scabs, Am Rebuilding. Terrific cover. Love that band. I love that song. But I think what is most masterful about this record is the way it's produced. If I didn't tell you this was from 2024 and you closed your eyes, you would think this is a record from 77, 78. It's just, man, it just sounds like that time and place. It's great, man, the way they produced it. Masterful job doing that. A Healthy Alternative. They've got quite a few records out. I can't suggest them enough. All right, so I did a video called the Top 100 Punk Albums of the 1970s a couple years ago. And I didn't have this record at the time. It would have made the list, no doubt about it, but I just didn't have it. But it just got reissued, and I'm so grateful that it got reissued so I can own it. And that's Magazine, Real Life. Just creative, imaginative sounds on this record. Very post-punk sounding before post-punk was really a genre. Terrific. Shot by Both Sides. Come on, man. Great stuff. Magazine, Real Life. Here's another compilation that just got reissued. I did a video about it a couple days ago. You know, the songs that are on this comp, the originals are getting mighty expensive, so it's great to have them all put on one record so I can have them and listen to them. And that was by a band called The Limps. And the comp was called 1979. All their recordings from 1979. But not only is the music great, but the insert that tells you the story about the band is very inspiring, man. They really lived the punk ethos and took the talent that they had, maximized it to write some really great songs. The Limps, 1979. Very cool. And one I found in the racks in 2024 that I didn't even know existed. I couldn't believe it. Because just when you think you've heard everything from a band, you stumble upon something else, and this was so cool to stumble upon. So looking it up, after I got it home, it's called The Lost Album. It Lost No More. I have it, but it's by the Dictators. So it's recordings from 77 and 78, but this was recorded released in 1980. It's also called like the official bootleg. It's a funny cover. They look cool on the back too. But, you're getting songs from Go Girl Crazy and Blood Brothers. Like, you've got Next Big Thing, Two Tub Man, Weekend, I Stand Tall, Slow Death. So, songs from that era. And just Ross the Boss is unreal on this record, man. Like, he's great on the studio albums, but this thing is like blistering. The songs are all a little bit different than the studio versions, which is what makes it such a fun listen, because you're hearing them like almost like you can hear what they tweaked on the studio albums instead of, taken from this stuff. But I love the rawness of this. Handsome Dick Manitoba's in like rare form on this thing. Really cool. The official bootleg, the lost album, whatever the hell you call it, it's awesome. The Dictator. So that's like some stuff from 2024. Newer stuff, a little older stuff, a reissue, just stuff that I enjoyed. So question number 2. I'm not going to take this long on all the questions, I promise. We're going to fly through some of these. 50 years later, the best album from 1974. I don't know if it's the best, but it's probably my favorite. I love the New York Dolls, and I love the album Too Much, Too Soon. Yeah, they look rad on that cover, man. Look at that. But, Babylon, Bad Detective, Chatterbox, Puss in Boots, just, awesome rock and roll tunes, the way the New York Dolls do it from 1974. I also brought out Mott the Hoople, you can't discount this album, 1974, like Crash Street Kids, They're Coming to Get Ya. That's a fun one. And then I think I'd be remiss if I didn't, add David Bowie Diamond Dogs to the list from 1974. A classic, man, but I don't think the VC needs me to elaborate on David Bowie. All right, question number 3. An album that defines a genre. I think in 2025 we should stop trying to define genres and explore genres. But and I will answer the question though, and I think, well, I know there were a lot more power pop albums than this album before it. I don't know if it's definitive, but to me, when I think of power pop, I think of this record. I think of the first Paul Collins Beat record. Sugary, sweet, but just an ounce of toughness in there that is, could bring the punks and the rockers aboard the power pop train. But I love this record. It's hit after hit on this thing. Paul Collins Beat, to me, it's definitive of the genre. Let's see what else we got. Question number 4, the best band from your home country. Nobody did it better, in my opinion, than Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers, LAMF, street level rock and roll, man. Nobody had the swagger, the toughness, the tunes like the Heartbreakers did, man. Number 1 to me. Best band from my home country. The USA. All right. Next question. An artist you miss dearly. An artist I miss dearly would be Mr. Chuck Berry. Chuck is, I just showed Johnny Thunders. Johnny Thunders and Chuck Berry are like the top, tied for number 1 rocker. I learned everything I know on guitar from listening to both of those guys' records and trying to mimic them. And I heard Chuck Berry at an early age, and I loved it then, and I still love it now. And Chuck, I think he's a fantastic guitar player. I think he's an amazing lyricist. I think he does a great job at describing the American lifestyle. There's something about his music that just resonates freedom to me. There's something eternally young, eternally teenage about it. And I really identify with it. I love Chuck Berry. And the thing that's cool, too, is I'm recording this on New Year's Eve. And Chuck used to do these New Year's Eve shows at B.B. King's nightclub in New York City. And so when I lived up there, I would always go to them. And I've seen Chuck many times, and I'm so grateful that I got to see him. And I have some of my best rock and roll memories at those shows. I found them to be, 1, just a load of fun, but 2, super inspiring to me. It was somebody who was older. He was older in age. But he was still getting up there and doing stuff he loved, and you could tell he loved it, and he was having a blast. And yeah, he botched some notes, but I loved it for it. I loved him for his mistakes, and I loved him for things he did perfect. And it gave me hope, and it inspired me to want to play music and stuff. And it's funny because I found the ticket stub when I was going through some stuff today. What are the odds of that? Yeah, B.B. King's Blues Club, Saturday, 2011 this show was. And it's 11 o'clock, he would play till midnight. So I always catch the midnight show every year. I dropped the other flyer I was going to show you. It was this one. It's a flyer for that same show, I think, 2011. Yeah, there's Chuck right there. And on the backside, Buddy Guy, I went to this show too. Buddy Guy was great. I really enjoyed his show too. But yeah, Chuck, I definitely I miss Chuck Berry, man. All right, next question. Let's see. Best live album in your collection. My answer to this is, I think this is from 1975. Nighthawks at the Diner by Tom Waits. You want to talk about an album that has like mood and atmosphere? This is definitely it, man. You can feel like you're in a smoky small club, and the band is so on. Tom Waits sounds great. Great storytelling, great songs. There's some one-liners he says on these things that this is funnier than some comedians that I've heard, you know. But once again, just a really provocative cover. Isn't that great? But I love Nighthawks at the Diner. I would say it's the best live album in my collection for sure. Let's see what else we got. Your number 7, question number 7. Your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? There's only one album really to put on when something like that happens, you know. You need to put on an album for like sensitive lovers, and I think that's "You Give Love a Bad Name" by Gigi Allen and the Holy Men. I won't go through the songs, but yeah, just you got to hear this. It's definitely one for the sensitive types. I brought out some other ones that are cool. I think you would play "No Such Thing" by Agent Orange from Living in Darkness. Maybe here's one that's a trip, isn't it? Anti Nowhere League Woman. It's a funny song. It's a funny single. What about the Outcast? Love is for Sops. Maybe you're feeling you're self-conscious over you. You know, this band, I like their earlier output, which is a little more gritty and a little more of the punk style that I like. But when it comes to the poppier side of punk, this is a great album for breakup songs about breakup, songs about falling in love. It's Punk Rock Confidential by the Queers. This is definitely, as far as the poppier side of punk goes, a record that I really like. I don't think you can talk about sadness in music without talking about Hank Williams. If you want to cry in your beer, yeah, she left you or he left you, you can listen to Hank Williams. I actually have very fond memories of Hank Williams. My grandfather had a Hank Williams cassette, and he used to play it all the time and try to sing like him. I used to think it was funny. It was funny then, and then, when I grew up, I really learned to appreciate, love the music of Hank Williams. And then for the real sad saps, how about Heartbreaker by Ryan Adams? This is a tearjerker for sure. But other than these, there's really only one other record to listen to when your heart is broken, to mend a broken heart, and that's the Schizos. I mean, there's nothing like Driller to pick you up from a funk, man. And no vinyl tag would be complete without mentioning the Schizos. We're mending broken hearts here with this vinyl tag. Let's see what else we got. Question number 8. The best sounding drums on an album. I thought this was a good question. I'm interested to see other people's responses. One stuck out to me automatically because I feel like it's like a clinic of like hardcore drumming. And that's Betzger's performance in Jerry's Kids, Is This My World? You want to talk about warp speed ahead, lightning fast fills. Just terrific drumming on this record. Is This My World? Jerry's Kids. And I think he drummed for Gangrene too. So quite a resume. This is fantastic. You should check this record out. On the other end of the spectrum, I think people sometimes often judge drummers about, well, at least in this genre, how fast they can play, or how crazy their fills are, or whatever. But on the other side of the spectrum, I some of my favorite drumming is really that just meat and potatoes drumming, that meat and potatoes punk rock drumming, where you just really keep a good beat, solid beat, keep the band in line. And I don't think anybody did that better than Paul Cook, and especially on like the Professionals. I didn't see it coming. I love this record. I've said this before, I'm pretty sure, but I love the Sex Pistols. I think Paul Cook's great in that, in the Sex Pistols. I think he's great in the Professionals. I listen to the Professionals more than I listen to the Pistols. And I'm still hoping, I'm crossing my fingers for a real Professionals reunion. We got to get Jonesy back on board, man. We have to manifest this. I'm not going to hold my breath. Let's see what else we got. Favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. I picked Richard Hell. Richard Hell was in Television. There he is. Rockin' Television. This session was produced by Brian Eno. It's called Double Exposure. It's a cool record. But then Richard Hell hanging out here with Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. It's turning into the fucking Johnny Thunders tag 2025. But I love this. This is the Yonkers demos. This is before Billy Rath. Richard Hell was their bassist. Richard Hell's gotten the boot from cooler bands than we'll ever be in. But even after that, out of Television, out of the Heartbreakers, what does he do? He gets together with our favorite drummer. Should have been the answer to the last question. Mark Bell, Marky Ramone. And does Richard Hell and the Voidoids, Blank Generation. A stellar punk rock album. Terrific album. You want to talk about creative, some wild guitar on this, and Richard Hell's vocals are just out of this world cool. But yeah, Richard Hell's my answer for that one. Let's see what else we got. All right. Question 10, Beatles or Stones? Ugh. I mean, frankly, I'm tired of hearing about both of them, so that question sucks. Question 11, you found a bag of weed. What are you going to listen to? I don't play with that hippie mess, so out the window with that question. Question 12, an album from the 80s that you still listen to. I listen to a ton of albums from the 80s still, so I had a pile of records over here when I was doing this. I didn't know what to pick for this. So I was like, I'm going to go through that pile of the stuff I recently listened to and pick 2 albums from the 80s. So these are the albums. First one is The Monks, Bad Habits. This is a great record to put on at a party. Look at the cover. There's some provocative covers on this vinyl tag. This is the provocative vinyl tag 2025. Bad Habits, Drugs in My Pocket, Nice Legs, Shame About Her Face. Funny songs, just for a good time. Yeah, this is from 1980. The other one I pulled out too is also from 1980. But the Monks, Bad Habits. I got to get their second album. They put another album out. I don't have it. I got to get that. The other one I pulled out, it was also from 1980. Like I said, it was The Pride of Canada, The Forgotten Rebels, This Ain't Hollywood. I listened to this record a ton. I could put this in the question where records you never get tired of. I never get tired of Forgotten Rebels. This Ain't Hollywood. Let's see what else we got here. An artist whose political stance has soured you. Yeah, I would have to say Vinyl Richie. I mean, it used to be about the music, man, but now he just takes these outlandish stances about things that are. I'm just fucking with you. I love you, Richie. Show a favorite record label. Yeah, so like I was saying about that top 100 punk albums of the 1970s, I also did a video on the first 100 Stiff singles. And if rankings are your thing, I did rank them. This is what I thought was the best, and up to the worst. But never mind the rankings. That doesn't really matter. It's just cool to collectively show them in one place, and maybe that video will help you navigate through some of the stuff you think you would really enjoy, because Stiff Records just did such a great job at championing like so many different styles and really taking chances, and they really kind of showed me or tested what I thought was like outsider music, what I think could be outsider music, and I love them for that. This is a really cool book, The Story of a Record Label, Stiff Records. It just takes you through a history of the label and then gives you like their complete discography, which is a super fun read. If you find this thing, it's definitely worth picking up. But I'll link that video of the Stiff singles too. It's definitely worth a look. But just a label that had one, great slogans, but just a great imagination and taste, and really turned me on to like a bunch of different stuff that maybe otherwise I wouldn't have been. They were very formative for me, I think, as a label. All right, let's see what the next a run of 3 great singles. This one was tough, dude, because like I love singles, and there's like so many bands I love that like put out great singles. Like off the top of my head, like I could have done like the Vibrators, the Boys, the Stranglers, the UK Subs. I mean the Ramones, and then a million more. But I chose this band. I chose this band. I chose the Adverts. They had a great run of singles. Safety in Numbers, We Who Wait. Terrific. Speaking of Stiff Records, One Chord Wonders. what's the B-side? Quick Step on this thing. It makes a good sleeve face too. One Chord Wonders, that and Get a Grip on Yourself by the Stranglers were songs that that I heard early punk songs that I heard that I was like, man, this sounds like it's from another fucking planet. Like, it's so cool. Love One Chord Wonders. And this one's probably my favorite. Gary Gilmore's Eyes, back with Bored Teenagers. Hard to beat. Absolutely essential, in my opinion. And then, that's 3, but they had like 2 more after that were great, I think. No Time to Be 21 and Television's Over. The Adverts. Great singles band, huh? Let's see what else we got. That was probably the hardest question because there's so many to pick. All right, a record store day purchase that you actually consistently listen to. I'm not wild about record store day, but if there's something that catches my eye, I'll pick it up, and nothing against it. And what's cool is I have one from this year, from 2024, so that fits lovingly into the theme of the video, which is a year in review, right? But it's this one here. This is I say this probably 30 times to this video, but man, this is a great cover. Look at this thing. Before we even talk about the music on this thing, it's the Ramones on the subway. What do you think? What do you think these people are thinking about the cretins they're looking at across from them? This is the 1975 Sire demos. I love this for a number of reasons. I've heard the first couple Ramones records a billion times. Also, records I never get tired of. But it's really nice to hear these records in a different way, demo versions. And honestly, some of them, they're a little slower, which makes the songs feel almost more intentional, especially lyrically, vocally. But it's just fun to hear them in a different way, and they're great. The quality's awesome, and I really enjoyed. It's an enjoyable listen. I would definitely recommend this. The 1975 Sire demos, record store day exclusive. Whoa! I tell all my buds I got the exclusive. It's probably limited to 25,000. But yeah, check that out. It's good. Oh, Dee Dee Ramone's vocal on 53rd Third on the demos, I think, is better than the vocal on the album. But that's neither here nor there. Let's see. I think I skipped a question, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay. Question number 17. You can be reincarnated as any artist, dead or alive. Who's it going to be? I don't know. Eric Clapton, so I can off myself. Question number 18. Best 3 lines in a song. This was a good question because I'm big on lyrics. I love lyrics. It was hard to pick, but like I did with those 80s albums, I just looked in the batch of records I had on the that I'd listened to on the floor, and I was like, I'll pick this one. It's by Rodriguez. The album Cold Fact. The album, the song is Like Janice, and the first verse I think is very, very cool. You measure for wealth by the things you can hold, and you measure for love by the sweet things you're told. And you live in the past or some dream that you're in, and your selfishness is your cardinal sin. I think that's a great line. This album's loaded with great lyrics. A lot of cold facts on this record. A lot of life lessons in the lyric sheet. Let's see what else we got. We are going to go to question 19. An album you never get tired of. An album I never get tired of. I brought out a few. I mean, there's a ton of these too, But I picked the Undertones' first album. I never get tired of listening to the Undertones. I love them. I think they're one of the best rock and roll bands, in my opinion. They rock. This other one, this is funny because I was picking the records that I want to do, I want to use for this video. I was like, all right, let me just pick a record to listen to while I'm doing it. And I picked this record, and I realized I do this a lot with this record. And I never get tired of this album because there's so many ways you can listen to it. And here's what I mean. You can crank this thing and, rock to it. Or, you're pulling out records or you're, doing something around the house and you kind of want something to just blend in that's good. This also is good for that. And it's the records. Yeah, I love this record. Buy the records. Just for Starry Eyes and Tina Rama alone, it's worth it. But, you got Up All Night, All Messed Up and Ready to Go. Um, what's that? There's some other great songs on this thing too. Yeah, I never get tired of listening to this. Yeah, Girls That Don't Exist. That's great. Up All Night is awesome. Insomnia. Yeah, there's not a record that I don't like. I really enjoy that band. Starry Eyes is like almost definitive of power pop to me as well. The last question I think is about a YouTube channel. Your favorite YouTube channel? Yeah, it's funny. My favorite YouTube channel is not even about music. I watch this. It's called Unanswered Oddities. Okay, and it's like the best use of AI in my opinion. It's like a knockoff of like Unsolved Mysteries, but they make it with aliens talking about like human activity. It's hilarious. You got to watch it. It's really funny. Unanswered Oddities. It really makes me laugh. It's pretty goofy, but yeah, man. So that's the vinyl tag 2025. I had a blast doing this, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's responses, man. I hope you have a great new year from me, from the Fink. I appreciate you watching. Like always, we're gonna keep rocking into 2025. We ain't gonna stop. We're never gonna stop, baby. But just remember, man, be good to each other, be good to yourselves. And most importantly, in this new year, you gotta be somebody, baby. Think about it. Take care, everybody. Be good.